Hello, everyone. I'm Lauren Kessel, the social media and creative content creator for the NKBA. First, I would like to thank Mila, our proud sponsor of Kitchen and Bath Month and today's webinar. We have a great presentation today on how to best utilize and grow your presence on social media. Please submit all questions using the Q&A function and not the chat. Any unanswered questions will be responded to by Monday. The webinar is also worth half a CEU credit, so don't forget to report your CEUs on nkba.org. To start today's presentation, it's important to talk about why we should even use social media. Social media is important for your business for a multitude of reasons. It can humanize your brand, increase brand awareness, establish your brand as an influencer and a thought leader. It keeps your company at the top of mind. How can it help you grow your business? Social media does a few things. It engages your target audience in a number of ways. It drives website traffic, it generates leads, and it helps boost sales for your business. Now let's break down who uses which platform. Facebook. We all know it. We can love it. We hate it. A lot of people use it. Facebook has 2.7 billion active users. The largest age group is between age 25 to 34. It still gets the most engagement despite other social platforms in the mix. Boomers still remain one of the major audiences on Facebook, but millennials also use it mainly to stay connected with each other and to get news. Instagram. Instagram has 1 billion active users, with the largest age group being age 25 to 34. This is the second largest social platform after Facebook. And it's very important to note that Facebook and Instagram have cross-promotional abilities, which makes it easy to share ads on both platforms, if not the same ad that you might want to run on both Facebook and Instagram. Influencer marketing is another important aspect of Instagram. It remains incredibly valuable and it helps to motivate consumer shopping or spending on whatever it is you're trying to advertise. Twitter has 187 million active users. The largest age group is age 30 to 49. Twitter usage and growth remains consistent year to year. However, this place is best used to gather news and discuss current events. It is not so much a place where you might be advertising for your company. LinkedIn. Who uses LinkedIn? LinkedIn has 738 million active users. It's primarily used for job hunting by millennials, but the older audience is the majority and worth noting. These users are high educated and high earning. Business to business advertising has the greatest potential on LinkedIn. It is also the top platform if you're looking for lead generation. Pinterest. Pinterest has 400 plus million active users. The largest age group is age 30 to 49. Recently, Pinterest has seen a spike in Gen Z and millennial usage. These users are highly dedicated, and Pinterest has great advertising potential. It's also an excellent way to reach a younger audience because of this audience that's currently using it. Now let's break down even more. How do different generations use these social platforms? We might have to start with baby boomers. They primarily use Facebook, and 40% of them consider social media to be essential. 73% say they mainly only use it to remain connected with family and friends, but 35% of them do use social media to discover brands. What does this mean for your business? Use social media to complement your brick and mortar strategy. Use local business pages, Facebook and Google. Keep Google in mind when populating company info. This is because when people search for your business, you want to make sure that you're showing up at the top of the Google results. Gen X. 52% of Gen Xers say that their social media use has increased about an average of 7 hours a week. 74% say social media is an essential part of their lives, and they prefer YouTube and Facebook when they're browsing the internet. This audience shows tons of brand loyalty. So what does this mean for you? Focus on video marketing that you can put onto YouTube. This is a great place for how-to videos and the like. Use social media to provide exceptional customer service. This is how you develop a great relationship with your Gen X audience and help them stay loyal to you. Millennials. Everybody here is all about millennials, and they were one of the first generations to really be immersed in social media. Millennials are now navigating adulthood and careers and are farther from the younger generation that people used to think they were. 72% say social media is essential, and they use it for a multitude of things like communication, learning about trends, and getting news. What does this mean for your company? You should associate your brand with a lifestyle activity or subject of interest. This will help generate a bigger millennial audience for you. Create impact with eye-catching graphics and videos to connect with millennials. Build a brand community for feedback and advice. Provide great customer service. Millennials will often go to social media first before calling or emailing, and that is one of their biggest forms of searching for customer service. So it's really important that you are active in that matter. Gen Z. Gen Z grew up with social media, and they are the most online and engaged generation. 66% say social media is essential to them, but they mainly use it for killing time. And this makes them the only generation to prioritize this over connecting with family and friends. They use social media to interact with brands and companies, and they expect a very personalized experience. So what does this mean for you? Create content that offers several touch points. This could include polls on Twitter or Instagram for engagement, starting threads, etc. Offer social commerce and tap into Gen Z's desire to learn about brands to foster engagement. And of course, always provide exceptional customer service. Now let's dive into Instagram. Here are a few things that you should consider when thinking about using Instagram. 71% of US businesses use Instagram. It also generates 4 times more interactions than Facebook, making it really integral for a design business, especially because this is a great place to show off all of your beautiful kitchen and bath imagery. 500 million Instagram accounts use the Instagram Stories feature daily. This is another very important thing with Instagram. This is also where you can get a lot of traction when it comes to click-throughs because you have the ability to post certain content on there and link out to something important or just your company website. Some recent updates to Instagram have included that the swipe up link is no longer. They have now changed it to a link sticker option where instead, it's almost like when you would go in and put a GIF or something else, you would simply go into the sticker option, click link, and then you enter whatever URL it is you would like. And then you put it near the bottom of your story or wherever you want to. And that's now how consumers will be getting to your website. Brands can also now promote products in the shop tab. Consumers can browse, save, and buy directly from here. Instagram Reels are also now able to be up to 60 seconds long. Things that you should and should not do on Instagram. Number 1, posting consistently helps you establish brand company trust. It also will help you show up in the algorithm. This also will help you prove yourself as a go-to trusted source to your clients and your audience. We are only human, so the expectation to post directly can be a little difficult. This is when it's good to potentially utilize some type of scheduling tool so that you can schedule out your posts in advance. Do create a strong visual aesthetic. Instagram is an awesome place for people to get a good first impression of you, and you really, really want to have enticing imagery. Instagram is, of course, all about visuals, so it's important to have a strong visual identity. Create a theme and a posting cadence. This will help your grid look more polished, professional, and interesting. When possible, try to use professional photography, and it's okay if you can't. Just make sure that you're taking great photos with your phone and use natural lighting, different angles, and rule of thirds. Rule of thirds is essentially making sure your subject is to the left or the right of an image, and then you're kind of creating a focal point, which helps create better composition for an image and makes it just look generally more interesting. Do use hashtags. Now, you don't want to write a huge amount of text when it comes to hashtags. You just want to use a few relatable and purposeful hashtags on your posts that will help you reach a larger audience. You should also consider making your own branded hashtags that are unique to your company. This will help you gain traction with certain initiatives, and they'll eventually start showing up more in the Discover area and people can find you. Always research your hashtags when creating a new one because you want to make sure it's not already in use by another company. Make sure your profile is complete. Write a bio that speaks to your brand or company. Make it short, but also interesting. Choose a quality profile photo. Nothing grainy, nothing that's hard to see. You really want this to be a good first impression for anyone coming to your Instagram. Add a bio link that drives to your website. This is where you're going to get people to click. You can direct people to click your bio link from any type of feed post, and you really just want to drive people there. You could also potentially use services like Linktree and Link in Bio if you have multiple important links besides just your company website. You just have to weigh the importance for you because sometimes these are paid services. You can start off free, but depending on how customized you want to get, you might have to pay for having that option. Don't leave anyone on red. This is very important because people are coming to social media to get in contact with you. And typically, if they have a concern, you're going to want to answer that right away. You don't want to leave negative comments unanswered. You want to make sure you can at least acknowledge their feedback. And if you have to take something offline, you can do so by requesting that they send you a direct message. The most important thing is looking to resolve whatever issue they might have. Don't use hashtags incorrectly. Avoid using hashtags that are irrelevant to your company or brand. Just because you see some kind of hashtag trending, don't just stick it onto your post just so you can end up in the Discover page, because then you're not really delivering the content that that hashtag might be promising. You also don't want to overuse hashtags. You can have up to 30 hashtags, but the average is 1 to 3 per post. I would say use about 11 as your maximum. Make your hashtags look cleaner by doing a few of the following. Use line breaks and captions, use an emoji as the first comment, and then leave your hashtag as the second comment. This essentially hides that wall of hashtags so that people will kind of just see the cute little emoji first, and then they can see all the hashtags below and it doesn't look messy. Don't set your account to private. This is pretty simple. Essentially, you want to be able to be visible and seen. If you set yourself to private, you're limiting your opportunities to be found. This also creates an obstacle, so it's harder for the consumer to connect with you, which is what you don't want to do. It also just makes it seem like you're hiding something, and you really want to be more open with your Instagram presence. Don't use poor quality or random images that don't have anything to do with your brand. Image quality on Instagram especially represents your brand. Poor images kind of make you look not quite as professional, and that's not the look that you want to be going for. Your images should always relate to your brand or company. They shouldn't be random or something that you wouldn't really want to be showing as a way to highlight your company. Images always should serve a purpose, and you really want to use them to foster engagement. How do you measure your success on Instagram? Here are some important metrics. Reach. This is how many unique users have viewed the content that you're putting out. Impressions. How many total views your piece of content included. This also does count repeated users, so take notes on that. Saves. How many people have saved your piece of content? Likes. How many people have liked it? Website clicks. How many people have clicked through on your bio link or have clicked through your story link? How to set goals. You should look to SMART goals for a baseline. These include specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And you can honestly apply this to all social platforms. How to measure your success within Instagram. What you can do is you can utilize the in-app native analytics tools that Instagram offers. Simply click the post, click View Insights, and this will pull up all of the data you want to see, the reach, impressions, saves, all of it. You can also use social media tools such as Sprout Social, Hootsuite, etc. These can help you track analytics, and they're also scheduling tools, so you can schedule out your content as far in advance as you want to. Try A/B testing different posts so you can see what is working for you and what is not. To do this, decide on the content that you're trying to test, whether it be an image, a hashtag, a caption. Create 2 different versions and run these simultaneously. Then check the analytics so you can see which one performed better to help you determine your strategy going forward. Don't be afraid to try new things. This is the best way to discover what works for you. How do you edit your photos? You can do this on an iPhone. They offer this right on the phone itself in the Photos area, but you can also download apps to help you. Adobe Lightroom is a great one for this. Create a content calendar. So we talked about a few programs where you can do this. Social media scheduling tool is a great place to kind of plan out a calendar, but you can also use Google if you aren't currently using some type of social media scheduler. And essentially what you can do is create a monthly Google Calendar, and then you would just write on the doc where you want certain posts to go out, and you can write the copy for it and link out to whatever images you want included, and then just manually post them. Here are a few things that can help make things easier for you when it comes to Instagram. First of all, we talked about how scheduling posts in advance really helps a lot with saving time. Some things you can use include Hootsuite, Later, and Buffer. When creating simple Instagram graphics, Canva is also a great tool. There is a free version, but as always, the paid version does allow you to do much more. In conclusion, to make an impact on Instagram, you must do the following. Make sure you have defined and clear goals. Make sure you have a strong content plan, understand your audience after doing thorough research, and use amazing quality imagery. Now let's get into Pinterest and why it matters. Pinterest converts more browsers into buyers because of the following. It takes less steps to achieve this on Pinterest than any other platform, and the user is only roughly 2 clicks away from a brand site. Pinterest also gained more than 100 million active monthly users in 2020. Why would you use Pinterest for your company? It's a great way to reach a new audience and to conduct audience research because you can see what your audience is pinning and what they might be liking. You can use it to discover new trends, and it helps to engage your audience. It drives traffic to your website, and really any type of inbound link is what you're striving for when it comes to social media. You really want to get those click-throughs. It also increases conversions. Pinterest can also be integrated onto your website, and you can connect it with your Facebook account. If you're using the same email address, you can also auto-share pins on Twitter. The best thing about it being able to be integrated on your website is if you have beautiful images of your designs, you can simply have that pin it button below so that people will share it onto their Pinterest. And then that's generating more of an audience for you and more of a likelihood that people will click through and come to your website. Things you should and shouldn't do for Pinterest. Definitely repin content. This is how you'll get exposure and you'll interact with other similar brands or companies. Be descriptive. Write a complete description on your pin. And don't forget to include your relevant hashtags and keywords that will help you show up in search engine results. Do pin regularly. The key with Pinterest is you have to post a lot, daily actually. The more content means the more traction that your brand or company is getting. Vary your post times throughout the day, and this will kind of help you see what performs best when. Create boards. This is a great way to curate your content in specific buckets, and then you can make sure that your audience is viewing things that you really want them to see. Make sure that each board is well populated and up to date. Barren boards aren't going to get anyone there. Now, what to not do. Don't repin content without credit. This goes without saying across most social media platforms. If you're posting someone else's work, always link out the credit. Don't pin without a plan. With any social media, it's all about your strategy. Post only relevant content that makes sense for your company or brand. Don't post random things or jump on trends that do not connect with your brand or your audience. This will kind of confuse them, and then they probably won't really want to return. Don't post spam-like comments. We all want to be able to promote our business, but the time and place isn't going to be on another company's post. When you're interacting with another post, you should be building relationships as opposed to being extremely salesy on their post or on their profile. In conclusion, to make Pinterest work for you, you have to post frequently, create engaging and themed boards, understand your audience. And now, everyone's favorite, Facebook. Things to know. 2/3 of Facebook users visit local business pages at least one time a week. We use Facebook primarily for creating and promoting highly targeted content and advertising. It's also important to use this for building long-term relationships and brand and company trust. Facebook is also a great way to generate website traffic because of paid advertising and boosting capabilities. Recent updates from Facebook have included the following. Facebook responded to Apple's iOS 14 updates, and they changed how brands can track and target users. Brand and companies must verify their website domain, and they can no longer target users under the age of 18 based on their interest. However, it is important to note you can still target by age, location, and gender. Now, how to create an audience. First, go to your Facebook Ads Manager. Click on Audiences, and then click Create Audience. This is where you can get as general or specific as you need to for your particular campaign. You can focus on gender, age, location, demographics, interests, and behaviors. This is important. You want to make sure you establish the exact audience for whatever post you're trying to promote. That's how you're going to get the best results and hopefully the best engagement. Boosting. When you have a post already in the feed, you can simply go to that post, click Boost Post, and then you can choose the following. First, you'll see the audience, a whole list of audiences that you've built, and you choose which one you want to target. Then you can also choose how much you want to spend and set your budget. You also choose the number of days that you want this ad to run. It's best to at least do 4 days minimum. How to view your analytics. Another thing that you can do to check analytics is using one of those social media managers, but if you're not doing that, you can find them in Facebook. So what you do is when you go to the post, you click People Reached, and it will open up a whole menu so you can see everything, likes, comments, shares, clicks, everything. Now, you should again create a content calendar. This is very important for every social platform, but it also helps a lot with Facebook. That way you can kind of change up whatever content you are producing and make sure that nothing gets stagnant. Use video. People love video on Facebook especially. It gets much more engagement than any kind of content like a still image. Do respond to comments. We covered this a little bit earlier. You basically don't want to leave any negative comments hanging around without a response. It's very important to get back to those immediately, and you can take it offline if needed for further discussion. But it's also important to just engage with people who might be leaving some really nice comments on your brand, just letting them know that you're grateful for their feedback. And you never know, it might even give you more ideas for some content that you could produce. Don't have an incomplete profile. Make sure your About section is filled out completely because this is how people will get to know your company or brand. This also includes having a good profile photo, again, similar to Instagram. Don't constantly push products and services. Of course, we want to promote things on Facebook, but we do also want to make it feel organic so that our audience will engage with us. We don't really want to be pushing it too much in their face. Don't use too many hashtags. Facebook isn't quite the place where using a lot of hashtags is going to necessarily generate more engagement with your post. The maximum would be about 2, but it's also okay if you don't necessarily hashtag your Facebook posts. How can you make things easier when it comes to Facebook? Again, use some type of social media management tool. These could include Hootsuite, Heyorka, or Later. You can also use social listening tools so you can gather analytics, and this includes Sprout Social or Buffer. In conclusion, when using Facebook, these are a few things you need to consider in order to get maximum impact. Use highly targeted audiences for your advertising to get the best results. Create specific audiences for products and services. If you know one audience might not work for whatever ad you're promoting, make sure you create the audience that will work for it. Promote short and engaging videos. You don't want it to be too long where they leave. You want it to be that sweet spot just so that they'll stay and consume the media. Be responsive to comments and feedback. Don't leave anyone hanging and make sure you always reply. Now to talk about Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. These are all awesome to use, but they are dependent upon your business or your brand's goals and who your target audience might be. You might not necessarily find these beneficial for your company, but it's also possible that you could. It just kind of takes testing out different platforms to see what's working for you. A couple of things to note. 59% of Twitter users regularly use the platform for news. LinkedIn is the most trusted social platform in the US, and 73% of users somewhat agree that LinkedIn protects both their privacy and data. And viewerships on YouTube with beginner in the title increased by more than 50% in 2020 between March and July, going back to how this is a great place for how-to videos. Some do's and don'ts for Twitter. Do use lists. Twitter allows you to curate lists so you can focus on brands, people, and conversations that are relevant to your company. This can also help you stay in the conversation with people who are similar to you. Use polls. This is a great way to encourage engagement, and you can almost use it for some audience research as well to see what they might be liking. Use images and video. This is, again, a great way to get your content seen. Use hashtags. Twitter is, of course, always where you're going to be using hashtags to join a conversation and to make sure that you are getting seen. Now the don'ts of Twitter. So it's great to use hashtags, but you don't want to use too many hashtags. You also don't want to have an incomplete profile, and this pretty much could be said all across the board for every platform. Also, don't get too wordy. Just because you have 280 characters doesn't mean you should be using all 280 characters. 100 characters is about the sweet spot for a length of a tweet. Do's for LinkedIn. Make your profile look polished and professional. LinkedIn is all about thought leadership and professional connections. Also a great place to show any kind of behind the scenes of your company or brand. You really want to embody this by having a polished and professional profile. Use video or informative media. This is another great opportunity to include video in your social strategy. This will help consumers and connections get an understanding of what you do. Also a great place to kind of show off any new products or initiatives you have coming down your pipeline. Do not have a stagnant profile. You should try to post on LinkedIn at least 1 to 2 times a week. You also should not treat it like it's Facebook or Twitter. It's not the place for memes, family photos, or quirky posts. You kind of want to stick to more professional company updates, industry news, and professional development opportunities. Don't send spammy messages. Being too salesy isn't a great approach. You really want to personalize any type of message that you're sending to someone you're trying to connect with. Otherwise, it'll just kind of seem spammy. For YouTube, learn about your audience. Go through comments on your videos, check out the demographics, and use the built-in analytics tab to understand who is viewing and consuming your content. You should also optimize your videos for SEO and Google. SEO is important for your videos to be seen. Use strong titles, standout thumbnails, and descriptions filled with keywords. When someone does a quick Google search, you want to make sure you have good keywords so that you're showing up in the search results. Organize videos into playlists. This helps your users be able to easily find and browse your content. Do not leave out a CTA. If you don't put a CTA, which means call to action, that means you're getting no conversions. And when you're using social media, conversions are what you want. Do not only measure success with views. Track click-throughs to see who took action because of your content. And do not ignore comments. Again, this kind of could be said across all platforms. You just want to make sure that you're engaging with them or addressing any kind of concerns. In conclusion, to make an impact using Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you should do the following. Know your audience. Find out which type of content is going to perform best on which platform. Know what each platform is best used for. For example, you're not going to be posting super long tweets, and you're probably not going to be, putting any kind of funny Facebook meme on LinkedIn. Be responsive to comments and feedback on all three platforms. And now, TikTok, because we cannot not talk about TikTok. Things to know. TikTok continues to grow in popularity, and the audience also is growing. March 2021 was the app's best month with 115 million downloads. On average, TikTok has 700 million active users a month, and the average user spends 13 hours a month on TikTok. The primary audience is 18 to 29. That's nearly 50%. TikTok is primarily used for more fun, entertaining content, not quite as much serious content, at least from a company or brand standpoint. TikTok added 3-minute videos this past summer. It also took moves to protect children's privacy because it does have a younger audience. When 13 to 17-year-olds join TikTok, their direct messaging is automatically set to no one. This means that they can better control their privacy and they won't be able to get messages from any kind of stranger. No push notifications after 9 p.m. as well for those that are 13 to 15 years old, and after 10 p.m. for 15 to 17-year-olds. Some do's and don'ts of TikTok. If you're going the TikTok route, you really want to choose your niche. If you do decide to start a TikTok account, you have to decide what you want your brand to represent and what you want to offer to your target audience. This could be great for remodeling tips, behind the scenes footage of one of your projects, or just some fun how-to video. Do tell a story. Like other platforms, TikTok essentially was made for storytelling. Make sure you're using the text overlays, video clips, and seamless, beautiful transitions to create a video series or related posts. Post often. A lot of creators are posting up to 5 times a day. And this is pretty much necessary if you want to gain any type of traction on TikTok. This will improve your algorithm performance, and it also will help you track what your audience is engaging with. So, sort of like another A/B testing too, if you will. Have fun with it. You really want to make sure that you're using this to show your fun and creative side for your company or brand. And you really just want to make it kind of cool. And you can use this as an opportunity to hop on trends. But you don't want to necessarily just hop on a trend just to do it. You really want to be careful and think it through. Things to not do on TikTok. Don't overtly advertise. You're going to have a better experience when it comes to engagement if it's subtle and creative, as opposed to just a blatant ad. Do not target everyone. This is pretty much the same to be said across all social platforms. Targeting too broadly doesn't necessarily give you the best results. You want to target after the people who are really going to like and consume your content. And then, of course, you can tweak the target if you see some type of rise and fall in the engagement. Now, how do you create TikTok videos? So if you have the app, what you would do is you open it up and you click the little plus sign at the bottom of the screen. You can essentially record clips right here, or if you've already created some kind of video clips, you would simply just upload them, and then you would click add sound at the top layer, and you can choose some type of music, or if there's a viral sound that you're looking to use. And then when you click next, you can see other functions like voiceover, which could be very good if you're trying to use this for some type of tutorial or for a how-to. Target audiences. TikTok has a built-in ads manager as well, kind of like Facebook does. All you have to do is create your audience, choose your ad placements, and set similar parameters like you would for Facebook targeting. This is essentially age, location, etc. How to promote your business. This is kind of a fun one that you could do. You could try launching a hashtag challenge. These spread pretty quickly across TikTok, and they encourage users to generate posts using your branded content. Not only does this drive engagement and interactions, but you could also potentially ask them if you could use this, whatever they make, to include in your own content plan. Consider using influencer marketing and user-generated content as well for this. In conclusion, these are things to consider to make an impact on TikTok. First, determine if you should even be using this platform and if it's right for your brand. You have to think about age, your brand's point of view, the time, effort, and the ROI. Make sure you're only focusing on fun, creative content. Leave anything serious for LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Stay current with all of the trends on TikTok because they change extremely fast and audiences will shift very quickly to whatever is the next new thing. In conclusion, these are a few things to consider when using social media for your business. Carefully curate each platform you're using to cater to your target audiences and know that that content isn't going to be the same on every single platform. Use only platforms that you find will boost your company's brand. Don't feel pressured to be involved in every single social media platform. Things like TikTok, they might not necessarily work for you, and maybe even Twitter isn't what's going to work for you, but that's something you have to determine with a little audience research and some practice. Streamline your content. Using social media management tools is the best way to efficiently curate thoughtful and robust content. When you do this, it helps to eliminate the need to constantly post in real time. It gives you access to useful analytics that will help you determine audiences and what types of content you want to push out. It also helps you with planning and making sure that you're not doubling down too much on the same theme for all of your posts. Engagement. The most effective engagement is where the user takes an action. You want to create campaigns with very strong calls to action that get your audience to interact with the content and engage with it. Measure engagement with these actions: clicks, saves and shares, comments, and likes. These are the biggest indicators for engagement, and you really want to have good numbers with all of those. Don't be afraid to try new things. Sometimes you need to change it up in your social strategy. If something doesn't necessarily work, that's okay. That just means it might not be for your company or brand. Thank you again for joining me today. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions. However, all submitted questions will be answered via email by Monday. Don't forget to report your half CEU credit on nkba.org. We look forward to seeing you all next week for another episode of NKBA Live. Don't forget to register for KBIS in Orlando, February 8th through 10th. Registration is free for NKBA members now through October 15th. Check out kbiz.com for more information. Thank you again to Mila for sponsoring today's webinar and Kitchen and Bath Month. Here's a short video featuring their new product lines.
Over 120 years of restless quest for perfection. Obsessive craftsmanship now meets refined design and pioneering technology. The new Miele Generation 7000, our most intuitive range of appliances ever. Purposeful innovations for a completely new kitchen experience. Outstanding performance, limitless possibilities, cutting-edge technology that is always one step ahead. For perfect results and intuitive performance like never before, Generation 7000, innovation by Miele.